So, the movie Thank You for Smoking represents the essence of business, in my opinion. The main character, Nick Naylor, was a lobbyist. A lobbyist is someone who is employed to persuade legislators to vote for legislation that favors the lobbyist employer. That was by Web Dictionary. He was the chief spokesman for the Academy of Tobacco Studies. I think the reason that this was such a good essence of business was because Nick Naylor was a great businessman. He was very confident, he was very passionate, and he always enjoyed a challenge, obviously, when promoting something like tobacco, which is one of the most hated companies. I think that one of the biggest things is why he was a good businessman is the way that he argued and had a special spin on things, kind of like manipulation, but in a business way. One of the main arguments in this movie, one of the most famous scenes, is with him and his son. They're having hot dogs at a carnival, and he's trying to explain to his son what he does every day on a day-to-day basis. And he says, my job is to always be right. And his son's confused. He's only 12 years old. He's like, how is it possible that you're always right? And he said, because it's my job to always be right. And he says, what if you're wrong? So his dad tries to explain it to him and says, okay, you're chocolate ice cream flavor, I'm vanilla ice cream flavor. Now try to persuade me to thinking that chocolate's the best ice cream flavor in the world. And there's a metaphorical audience. And he says, chocolate's the best ice cream flavor in the world, and I wouldn't have any other flavor. And his dad said, okay, well, I believe that there's millions of other ice cream flavors, and I believe that people have the freedom to choose what ice cream flavor they want. Not just chocolate, not just vanilla, but all of the different kinds. And his son was so confused. He said, but you didn't tell me that chocolate was bad and vanilla was better. How did you win? And he said, I didn't need to bash you. I just needed those people to know that you were wrong and I'm automatically right. And that's exactly what he did. Freedom is such a broad thing that everybody can agree on. So who's going to disagree on millions of ice cream flavors in perspective of just one chocolate or vanilla? So I thought that was a very cool spin, and I think that's very big part of business right there. Another argument that he had was he was on a talk show host, and there was a boy there who had cancer. And you could just tell the audience was about to bash him for selling cigarettes to this poor teenage boy who has now cancer. And he says, we actually don't want him to die. We didn't want him to get cancer. We want him to stay alive and to continue smoking so we get a profit. And the whole audience was shocked. And then he goes into saying how they're doing a $50 million advertisement as to why kids shouldn't smoke. And everyone was already mesmerized by his argument, and that's it. Everybody forgot that smoking had given this teenage boy cancer, and it was just crazy how he persuaded them like that. Another reason why the good essence of business is the bribery going on in the movie. The tobacco industry they say in the movie that they bribed young lawyers who just came out of law school with timeshares and fancy cars and made them sign a contract because they want the best lawyers to defend their company. And to be a good business, you have to have the best, and if it takes bribery, then that's what it is. He also bribed the Marlboro man, and he persuaded him with money, and the guy insisted he didn't want to take it. He said, okay, well, don't take the money, continue talking bad about tobacco, and when the news comes here, you can give all the money to charity. And he's like, well, what about some for my family? He goes, no, then you can't keep the blood money and keep talking bad about us. You either take it all for your family and stop denouncing us, or you give it all away to a charity. And he knew that the guy would take it all, and he did. And the way of the scene and how he does it, it's just, he is very strong in his arguments. So, some people might say, how is bribery and arguments manipulating moral or ethical? Well, to me, they're not, but in the business world, it doesn't really matter. A good business person, a good business will do whatever they can to make their business prosper at all costs, and that's what Nick Naylor did. For example, he explained to his son moral flexibility. Now, a lawyer's job is to be a lawyer and defend his client. That's what he is. So, this is how Nick Naylor explained to his son, that a person comes in and someone who's about to be in prison, and he just had killed a little boy. Now, obviously, that is not moral or ethical right, and this lawyer probably most likely, does not want to defend this guy at all for killing a little boy. But everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and it is his job to defend his client and to be a lawyer, and that's what he has to do. Or a surgeon can't get emotionally attached to its patients if it really wants to do its job correctly and make the patient stay alive. So you can't get attached to your patients. Or a big thing in the hospital world, you'll have a prisoner come in, or a criminal come into the hospital, and you'll have a 4-year-old little girl who has leukemia, and you have to treat them with the both equal medical needs that they need. Now, obviously, it's just, you have to treat them both equally no matter what. And that's your job, and that's what you have to do, and that's how you run a business. You can't let your morals or ethics get into the way of that to do your job correctly. So I believe that Nick Naylor made this movie magnificent, and he's the one who represented business essence. According to the World Health Organization, tobacco kills half of its users and 7 million people a year. That's in 2017. This movie was filmed, I think, in 2003. But still, even then, for Nick Naylor, with his savviness, the way he was a lobbyist, and his business essence, to continue to sell poison to the general public, he literally sold something that said poison can cause cancer. There were commercials, warnings, billboard warnings, advertisements, and he was still able to sell that. It's easy for somebody to sell something that's good for you. It's a challenge to sell something that's obviously bad for you, and the fact that he was still able to do that, I think, showed a good essence of business. And that's it. Thank you.